Fellas, it's only the second video, and I'm already out of ideas. If I had to put my situation in an analogy, this is how I'd put it. You are a man asking for some milk. Milk to go along with a very sweet treat. I am a dairy farmer who had a cow who could provide aforementioned milk. However, she's been squeezed dry over the last 7 months. Instead, I'll have to transition to my dairy bulls. Their milk is considerably harder to obtain and, on account of its consistency, not optimal for dipping. Personally, I prefer my Oreos soaked, not glazed. If you're wondering where this metaphor is going, it isn't. I just needed some points for my running gag bingo card. In short, we're already looking at the bottom of the barrel.
Three Labubus doing 6-7 at McDonald's drive-thru.
This barrel contains a considerable portion of my free horror games. Now, disclaimer. If any one of these games is not free or there is some other discrepancy between the way I describe it and the way it appears on your monitor, then good for me. I will be spoiling what little story each of these games has. I'll indicate an incoming spoiler with this icon. All Is Dust is genuinely one of the most horrifying games I've ever played. It's so scary, my computer refuses to even run it. The Third Pig is a short game based on the Three Little Piggies. This is a very faithful adaptation of the original story, cycle of guilt and all. The story starts with a voiceover of the original tale.
There once was an old sow with 3 little pigs,
accompanied by some subtle foreshadowing. This adaptation takes the liberty of adding the stranger.
I don't like girls.
But in reality, we already know who he is. Joseph Stalin. Joe and the wolf are apparently in cahoots. In his own words, something about ending a life to sustain his own is appealing. But he's not just taking anyone's life. He's looking for good meat.
Buffalo testicles.
He's a butcher, after all.
I've been a carpenter, a doctor, a woodsman, but life has led me to my true calling as a butcher.
And a butcher is only as good as the sausage links that dangle by the front door.
It's a sausage friend. It's a sausage friend. It's a sausage friend.
Turns out you are linkable. And so, he's here to Jack Daniels your ass. The stranger continues saying that he would kill you now, if not for Mr. Wolf being an
artist,
requiring that the stranger traps the pig's house like a reverse Home Alone. The wording here is curious. The stranger says that, using his carpentry skills, he was able to turn your house into a death trap. In reality, he simply locked the doors and cabinets, hid some stuff in plain sight, and called it a day.
Best of luck.
He even left out some snacks. This is the equivalent of being hired as an exterminator, and then only spreading out a few dozen apple seeds, praying the rodents die from arsenic poisoning. Upon successfully leaving your home, you learn your efforts never mattered. The game was rigged from the start. Luckily, revenge is a dish best served from both barrels of a double-barrel shotgun. Mechanics: walk around, pick stuff up, get disoriented, use said stuff. The Resident Evil camera lends itself to my ability to miss the door almost every single time. The controls are a little jank, the AI a little retarded, and the story certainly convoluted. I give it a Craft World out of 10. If it entertains you for even 5 minutes, it was well worth the cost. Canvas Corridor is essentially a walking sim with minimal puzzle mechanics. Batteries are the only resource you need to manage, and there are plenty to go around. Regardless of the fact your flashlight goes through them like a Tyler goes through vapes, you should make it through the game with a ton to spare. You would think that at its insane rate of consumption, and considering the laws of chemistry and thermodynamics, this lithium guzzler would have a luminous flux value above a single lumen. It does not. This, combined with the claustrophobic FOV, means you could see anything between nothing and dick almost the entire time. That being said, it has a couple good scares. And the sound design is excellent for such a short game. It ain't that deep, but I enjoyed it regardless. Plus, there really isn't a story, so I saved time in the edit. Thank you, Canvas Corridor. Next round. We Went Back is another walking sim where you experience the most Rubenesque of shapes.
Fatter.
A circle. Peter Paul Rubens loved his round women, just as I love what's around the corner. You wake at an extraterrestrial science facility. You can tell it's not on Earth by the way it is. But something is off. Space is a vast and empty void, with distances that are intraversable for a single generation. Meaning, we probably won't be Skyping with alien life anytime soon. So, when we throw our voices into the stars, the only response more terrifying than a shout is a whisper. I'm sure it's fine. If you have 20 minutes to spare and you like loud noises, I give it a recommend. Originally, I was going to end this mini review here, but at the time, the video was like 5 minutes, and that cuts into my margins. Fortunately, when I loaded the game back up to grab some B footage, I learned that most posters and writing are in full resolution, meaning you can read almost every piece of text in the game. I only draw attention to this because this is how I learned rats are an essential narrative element. They essentially perform the same function as canaries in early mines, alerting the station for when they are near. All in all, it's a decent free experience. Finally, we have PAPERHEAD Episode 0 is effectively a demo for a larger episodic game, and it kinda slaps. It's a movement shooter with a unique visual style and fun gameplay. Its audio design is a particular standout. Hey fellas, a new eating noise just dropped. Slide, jump, and kick yourself across the room as you blast enemies to bits. Bathe yourself in the blood and viscera of zombies, monsters, infants, and some nerds.
Bazinga!
My only gripe with the movement is that the character has a minimal gait of about 5 yards. I find myself constantly slipping and falling off even decently sized platforms. This is especially obnoxious when these platforms are required to make certain jumps. Luckily, the devs considered this and included an alternative form of transportation. Take a nearby physics object and place it firmly beneath your feet. Spam jump and voila, you can fly. Just be careful with the object you choose. Additionally, the kick also works as a parry on certain projectiles. Use liberally. Now let me tell you my favorite game mechanic. Early on, you are given a pencil, aka Object 808. This pencil allows you to alter the world around you. One mode allows you to generate doors and create life. This will be relevant to the narrative later on. Another mode allows you to generate bombs. This mode uses lead from your pencil, which can be periodically reloaded by sharpening. The pencil also functions as your one and only melee weapon, which you can use to erase corpses in exchange for health. The final, most essential mode allows you to lower the local housing price. The default decal is set to a distant memory. The middle school S was cool when we were kids, but now we're men who desire manly things. The backless chaps are all I yearn for. The crack whores at my local den make fun of me for my knee-high socks and correct prescription. Little do they know, I've been squatting for years, and once I've donned my new uniform, I will sit gently on the pavement, causing a mild Category 7 earthquake, moderately agitating their chlamydia. Without insurance, it'll cost a week's crack to treat the itch. In that time, they'll die from withdrawal, and I will be free from harassment.
I just sitting there naked, free as can be, and no one bothers me, door shut, we're good.
As a great man once said, true instantaneous victory comes at the cost of years of preparation. For bonus points, this feature forces me to get better at editing, so I don't get demonetized before I've even made my first cent. The story. The prologue informs us that we are in Paper Town, a pleasant place for all things cardboard, and then you're in. You wake up in a facility with nothing but a flashlight and a revolver in hand. As you traverse deeper, you learn something has gone awry, though not entirely by accident.
We apologize for the inconvenience. Your objective in the test is to die.
Biofold is the name, and making creatures beyond comprehension is the game. As you fight these horrible manifestations of hubris, you get visions from something you don't quite understand. It promises to help you find yourself. What a helpful and caring guy. It's no secret that these things you see before you are experimentations. The only question left is, why? As it turns out, your magic pencil has the power to bring life to chunks of meat. And when meat is given life, it becomes a living, breathing power supply. For a faction at war, this resource is considerably advantageous. This would be an interesting rabbit hole to follow, but we have work to do. Making our way to the center of the facility is our current objective. Sadly, various rituals and large meat puppets block the path. So we give them the old southern salute and obliterate their skulls with some triple-aught buck. Luckily, it's not a long path, and our friend has been supportive the whole way. Finally, we've made it to the main research wing. Now we just have to...
Alert. The host and drone are in direct contact.
As it turns out, we've been victims of our own mind. So, we must kill it. We must kill ourselves. Once the deed is done, we are free. But this is not where the story ends. If the other parts ever come out, and they are substantial enough to do a more comprehensive review of the story, I may revisit the series. For now, this is it. This is the end of the horror game bonanza. I was going to include a game called Vigil, but when I refused to hook up a webcam for the game's blink functionality, I couldn't restart after dying. Plus, the day I got a webcam is the day I finished the script. And I'm a little short on time if I want to have consistent monthly uploads. Thank you for watching, and contrary to the title of this video, there's indeed more content to come. A special thanks to those who have subscribed. I sincerely appreciate it. More than you'll ever know. See you guys next month.
Thank you.